In 1798, Napoleon spent a night alone inside the Great Pyramid. 7 hours later, he emerged pale and shaken. His officers asked what happened. He said, "Even if I told you, you would not believe me." He took that secret to his grave. The Great Pyramid has been studied longer than any structure on Earth, mapped, measured, scanned for centuries. And scientists just confirmed, we had no idea what was actually inside it. A hidden corridor sealed for 4,500 years. 2 limestone blocks at the end nobody has ever moved. A void the size of a passenger jet floating inside solid stone. 3 independent teams detected it simultaneously and cannot explain why it exists. And the most powerful pharaoh in history, his mummy has never been found. His sarcophagus was empty. In 2026, scientists may finally open that sealed door. What's behind it could change everything. Drop a comment. Where in the world are you watching from and what time is it there? I want to know who's going down this rabbit hole with me. Inside the Great Pyramid, there are 4 narrow shafts. Most textbooks call them air shafts, ventilation passages built to keep workers cool during construction. That explanation sounds reasonable. Until you actually look at what they point to. In the 1960s, 2 researchers, Virginia Trimble and Alexander Badawi, did something nobody had bothered to do before. They calculated the precise angles of all 4 shafts and traced them against the night sky as it appeared 4,500 years ago. What they found stopped the archaeological community cold. The southern shaft of the King's Chamber points directly at Orion's belt, the constellation the ancient Egyptians associated with Osiris, god of the afterlife. The northern shaft points to Thuban, the North Star at the time of construction, which the Egyptians called the Great Mooring Post, the fixed point in the sky where the pharaoh's soul would anchor for eternity. The southern shaft of the Queen's Chamber points to Sirius, the brightest star in the sky associated with the goddess Isis. Every single shaft points to a star of profound religious significance. Not approximately, not close, with a margin of error of less than 1 degree. Here is what makes this impossible. These shafts don't run in straight lines. They bend, they turn, they navigate through millions of tons of solid stone at precise, calculated angles to hit specific points in the sky, without telescopes, without computers, without any instrument we can confirm they possessed. And one of them follows such a deliberately crooked course that it could never have been used for ventilation or observation at all. So what are they for? Each shaft ends at a small stone door. Robots have explored them. The doors were opened. And behind every single one, nothing visible, just darkness. And another sealed door beyond that. 4 shafts pointing at the stars with impossible precision. 4 doors that have never been fully opened. And nobody, in 4,500 years, has been able to explain why. In 1837, a man named J.R. Hill was clearing debris from inside one of the Great Pyramid's shafts using explosives. Not exactly delicate archaeology, but when the dust settled, he found something lodged deep inside the southern shaft that nobody expected. A flat piece of iron. That doesn't sound remarkable, until you understand what it means. The iron plate measures 26 centimeters long, 8.6 centimeters wide. It weighs 750 grams. It currently sits in the British Museum in London, Egyptian Department, Case K. You can look it up. It is real. It has been tested multiple times by independent laboratories. The most thorough analysis was published in 1989 by metallurgists El Sayed El Gayar and M.P. Jones. Their conclusion was unambiguous. The plate is wrought iron, worked by human hands, intentionally shaped. Here is why that is impossible. The Great Pyramid was built around 2560 BC. The Iron Age in Egypt didn't begin until approximately 600 BC. That iron plate predates Egypt's ability to work iron by nearly 2,000 years. 2,000 years. And it wasn't found lying on the ground. It wasn't dropped by a later visitor. It was found lodged inside the shaft itself, sealed between the stone blocks, placed there during construction, intentionally. Mainstream Egyptology has largely ignored it. It appears in almost no official discussions of the pyramid. No explanation has ever been published for how a piece of worked iron ended up sealed inside one of the most studied structures in human history 2,000 years before ironworking existed in Egypt. The 1989 metallurgical report sits in the academic record. The plate sits in the British Museum. And the question of how it got there has never been answered. In 2024, a joint team of Japanese and Egyptian researchers did something surprisingly simple. They pointed ground-penetrating radar at an area beside the Great Pyramid that nobody had ever bothered to scan before. A blank patch of desert in the Western Cemetery, the ancient burial ground of Khufu's royal family and highest officials. No monuments above ground, no markings, no reason to look there. So, for 4,500 years, nobody did. What the radar found changed that immediately. 2 meters beneath the surface, a structure. L-shaped, 10 meters by 15 meters, too geometrically precise to be natural. The researchers ran every geological model they had. The shape cannot be explained by rock formation, erosion, or any natural process. It was built by human hands, deliberately, and then, just as deliberately, filled entirely with sand and buried. Someone went to extraordinary effort to make sure nobody would ever find it. Below that first structure, something else, a deeper anomaly. 10 meters underground, 33 feet by 33 feet, showing up on every instrument as a zone of extremely high electrical resistance. Which means one of two things. Either it is packed with densely compacted material, or it is completely empty. A hollow chamber sealed 10 meters beneath the desert beside the most studied structure on Earth. Here is what makes this extraordinary. The Western Cemetery has been excavated for over a century. Archaeologists have worked this site since the early 1900s. Dozens of tombs have been opened, catalogued, studied. And this entire area, this blank patch of ground sitting directly beside the Great Pyramid, was never examined underground. Not once. In 100 years of archaeology at one of the most important sites in human history, nobody knows what the L-shaped structure was built for. Nobody knows what is inside the deeper chamber. And nobody has been given permission to dig. In 2017, something happened that hadn't happened in over 100 years. Scientists discovered a previously unknown space inside the Great Pyramid, not a crack, not a structural irregularity. A void. Enormous, deliberate, and completely unexplained. Here is what makes this discovery different from everything that came before it. 3 completely independent scientific teams, one from Japan, one from France, one from the United States, all using different instruments, different methodologies, different equipment, all detected the exact same space in the exact same location at the exact same time. You cannot argue with that. 3 teams working independently don't accidentally find the same thing unless it is real. The void sits directly above the Grand Gallery, the most architecturally sophisticated passageway inside the pyramid. It measures at least 40 meters long and 8 meters high. To put that in perspective, a standard commercial passenger jet is roughly 40 meters long. There is an empty space the size of a passenger jet floating inside what was supposed to be solid stone. Sealed, hidden, undetected for 4,500 years. The lead researcher said, and I want you to hear this clearly, such a big void cannot be an accident. That is not a conspiracy theorist. That is the co-leader of a peer-reviewed study published in the journal Nature, saying that something of that size inside that pyramid was put there on purpose. And nobody knows why. Mainstream Egyptologists have suggested it might be a stress relief cavity. Empty space built to redistribute the weight pressing down on the Grand Gallery below. It's a reasonable theory. Except that the known stress relief chambers above the King's Chamber are small, flat, and precisely engineered for that purpose. This void is 8 meters high. You don't need 8 meters of empty space to redistribute weight. Something else is going on. In the ancient pyramid texts, the oldest religious writings ever found, there is a passage describing a throne of iron on which the pharaoh must sit before he can pass the gates of the sky and reach the stars of the north. A researcher at the Politecnico di Milano has proposed that this throne may sit at the upper end of the void, positioned directly beneath the apex of the pyramid on the vertical axis, waiting, untouched. Since the day the pyramid was sealed. If you have been watching this far and this is your first time on this channel, hit subscribe right now. Every single video goes deeper than the last. The void has been confirmed. The void has been mapped. And in 4,500 years, not one human being has ever been inside it. Here is a fact that Egyptology has never fully reckoned with. The King's Chamber, the room at the heart of the Great Pyramid, the room that Napoleon spent 7 hours alone inside, the room that the entire pyramid was supposedly built to protect, contains a sarcophagus, massive, granite, carved from a single block so large it could not fit through any of the pyramid's passages, which means it was placed there during construction. Before the pyramid was built around it, that sarcophagus has been empty since the first time anyone opened it. No mummy, no wrappings, no artifacts, no evidence that Khufu, the most powerful pharaoh of the Old Kingdom, the man who commanded an empire and built the greatest structure in human history, was ever inside it. In 4,500 years of searching, the mummy of Khufu has never been found, not in the pyramid, not in any tomb, not anywhere on Earth. So where is he? In 2023, the Scan Pyramids project made the first major structural discovery inside the Great Pyramid in over a century. Using cosmic ray imaging, they confirmed a hidden corridor, 9 meters long, running directly behind the pyramid's north face entrance, the first corridor ever found on the north side, sealed since the 4th dynasty. Nobody has been inside it, and at the end of that corridor, 2 large limestone blocks, sitting exactly where a door would be. The lead researcher said, "There are 2 large limestones at the end, and now the question is, what's behind them and below the chamber?" Dr. Zahi Hawass, the most prominent Egyptologist alive, has stated publicly that this corridor may lead to the undiscovered burial chamber of King Khufu himself. The chamber that has never been found, the room that would contain the most significant archaeological discovery in human history, potentially rivaling the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. But bigger, because Khufu built the Great Pyramid, and Tutankhamun was a minor king. In 2026, this year, scientists are expected to make a major announcement about what lies beyond those limestone blocks. The world is waiting, archaeologists are waiting, and whatever is behind that door has been waiting for 4,500 years for someone to open it. Napoleon went in alone, came out shaken, refused to tell anyone what he saw. Maybe he found a door. Maybe he stood exactly where scientists are standing right now, looking at something he couldn't explain, and choosing to say nothing. Think about what we just covered: 4 shafts pointing at specific stars with less than 1 degree of error, without modern instruments. A piece of iron sealed inside the pyramid 2,000 years before Egypt could work iron, an underground structure deliberately buried beside the most studied site in human history that nobody examined for a century, a void the size of a passenger jet that 3 independent teams cannot explain. And a corridor sealed since the day the pyramid was finished with 2 limestone blocks at the end that nobody has ever moved. None of these are theories, every single one confirmed by peer-reviewed science. Real, verified, and not one complete explanation between them. The Great Pyramid is the most studied structure in human history, centuries of archaeology, decades of scanning. And we are still finding things we didn't know were there. A hidden corridor in 2023, an underground anomaly in 2024, hidden voids in 2025. Every single year, this building reveals something new, which means the question isn't what we found. The question is what we haven't found yet. What is behind those limestone blocks? What is inside that void? And where, after 4,500 years, is Khufu? Napoleon went in alone, came out shaken, said nothing. Maybe now we'll finally understand why. Drop a comment below. Which discovery hit you the hardest? And if you are not subscribed, hit that button now. The cipher is just beginning to be decoded. And we are just getting started.